What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I'm Steven. In today's video, this is a video that I am doing simply because you guys requested it a lot. You guys wanted me to react to the Miss Americana documentary, and I didn't want to because I wanted to just sit on my couch in my pajamas, eating food and watching it and really taking it in and giving it my undivided attention. So that's what I did, and I told you guys that I would make a recap of it, and that's what I'm gonna do here. So I'm gonna tell you guys my opinion on the Miss Americana documentary. First and foremost, I would consider myself an outside fan, meaning I like the music a lot. I don't fall too much into Taylor Swift's personal life, and for that reason, this was a great documentary for someone like me because I knew about some of this drama that had happened, but I never knew her side. I don't think a lot of people did. And I also didn't just know much from her camp anyways because I wasn't really following her as a person, just a lot of these singles that had come out. Also, number two, I realized that documentaries can be a little bit biased because they are one-sided. That is very true most of the time. But what I will say is that I feel like Taylor's side was never really heard before. And so even though it's one-sided, it's the side it's like the missing puzzle piece that no one ever really had. And for that reason, I think this counts fully. So first off, I think they started the documentary out very well, kind of talking about her career as a country musician and kind of her pathway leading up into breaking into pop music. And I thought that was really cool because I obviously heard her music, obviously when she was in country music. I stan Yeehaw Taylor, I talk about it all the time. And I remember when it went to pop and a lot of people felt that it wasn't authentic. And I could, I guess, fall into that category. I did feel like, where did all this country sound go because now you're doing a pop record? And I remember being on that side of the fence thinking like, that's weird, you're suddenly no accent or anything like that. And I felt like I got a little bit more information into that while watching this documentary. I felt like her kind of talking about being this country artist, being this good girl, kind of boxed in, and then you start to think about Big Machine Records and stuff like that, and it's almost like it doesn't matter if you wanted to do something else, you were kind of in this path. She had really set this stage for what she was going to be, and I think she nailed it perfectly when she said that she was trying to continue to make music to get the approval of others because that's what made her feel good. She wanted to do something that made her feel good, and when everyone accepted everything she did, she felt good, and so she stuck to that country route for a while because of that. And that makes a lot more sense when I hear it in that, because I think it's important to be honest, and one thing that she was doing was being very honest in this documentary, saying like, hey, at one point I was just doing what I thought everybody would like. And it was kind of cool to actually see that side of her because I feel like a lot of artists won't ever really tell you that that's the case. But it made total sense as to why she progressed into a pop album because she was kind of starting to break out of that shell a little bit. Now, I was pretty interested to hear about the Kanye West drama. I obviously remember the award show incident. Everyone does. And I was a Kanye West fan when the cancellation of Taylor Swift kind of happened, whenever Kim leaked the footage and stuff, and I never really thought one way or another about it. I didn't have too much of an opinion on it. However, I do remember all of that and Taylor, essentially disappearing for a while, and so it was very interesting to see some of the things I'd never seen from her side. For one, the award show moment, that post interview that she did where she's talking about how she was a Kanye West fan, she's not sure if she is anymore. I think that was important, and to see the impact that it made. She said that hearing all those people booing whenever you seek everyone's approval, it really changed her as an artist. It really changed her outlook on a lot of stuff. I'm a believer that people should get second chances, and I do feel like Kanye got his second chance, maybe even his third chance. At some point, Taylor did forgive him. They were sort of friends, and seeing her I forget if she announced and brought him up on stage for some big moment in his career. That's when he announced that he was going to go for president, which thank God that did not happen. When all of those things happened, I felt good about it because from an outsider's perspective, I appreciated both artists. While I didn't know all of Taylor's music, I still respected her as a person, and I thought that was really great to see them not having this issue anymore. However, the phone call, the footage of the phone call from Kim K and Kanye spinning this narrative that wasn't actually true. Yes, there was a phone conversation, but like Taylor said, where in that conversation did she, was she okay with Kanye talking about having sex with her and calling her a bitch and all this stuff? You can't hear it. It's not there. So hearing her side and seeing sort of what happened with that was actually really awesome, because I remember that situation very clearly. Even though I wasn't following it, it was all over the internet. I remember Taylor Swift getting canceled. I remember even myself thinking like, wow, dude, if that's true, that's really shitty. And it turns out that it was very partially true, and there was a lot missing from that conversation that ended up going on. And they also didn't talk about the music video with her being naked and all of that stuff, which I thought was interesting because I felt like that would have had an impact as well. But all of that drama aside, I have a whole new appreciation for the Reputation album, because I already knew how important it was. I already knew the impact, but seeing her writing some of those songs, seeing the anger in her eyes as she wrote the album, seeing her talk about how she had to literally change the narrative of what people were thinking in almost an entire society, and doing all that with the Reputation album makes me feel like that album has so much more impact than I initially thought. So the only thing I can say is thank you, Kanye West, for an album like Reputation. I love seeing some of the behind the songs, like for example, the song Me. That's a song that I don't listen to anymore. It's a song that I'm not like, oh, I gotta go turn on the song Me. It was really great when it came out. I love that Brendan Urie's in it. I love Panic at the Disco. However, I just kind of felt like it was one of those songs that I heard it a couple times, I'm good. However, after watching some of the making of parts of it, I feel like I have a whole new appreciation to that song. And that goes for any of the songs that she did on this documentary. Getting to actually see her formulate and put together and see how the mastermind of Taylor Swift works makes me appreciate those songs a whole lot more. Now, the one thing that I was most excited about in this documentary at the end of it, when it was finished, the one thing that was on my mind is why she got into the politics, why she started to speak out. And I think that is a much bigger moment in this documentary. First off, I remember the sexual assault case very vaguely, so to be able to see everything that happened in this, it's really disgusting. And she made a really good point when she said there were 7 witnesses and a photo of someone assaulting me, and in a courtroom, I had to convince people to believe me, and I don't know what it would have been like to be a girl with no witnesses trying to get people to believe them. And that hit so hard, because I think that a lot of, I'm a cis white male, okay, I get it, but I can see that. I can see where there would be an issue there. I can see where Taylor is coming from in that, and she's absolutely right. 9 times out of 10, no one ever believes the female, and for her to go on that platform and win that case, but then use that to speak out, I thought was the most amazing moment in this documentary. And it only fueled a fire that was coming, which is her falling into politics. And I think one of the coolest things we saw is her trying to convince her team that it was okay for her to make a statement. And she goes on to this thing talking about how don't be the Dixie Chicks. And when she was on Big Machine making country music, it's hard to be outspoken. You have to be the good girl. You have to keep your politics to yourself, because country music, I'm a fan of it as well, but there is a huge Republican following. It's a huge Republican following. I grew up in Houston, Texas. I couldn't name that many, liberal thinking or democratic thinking people that I knew around me. It's just not really the culture. And so for her to sit there and start convincing her team, I need to make a statement, I need to do this. And at one point just telling her dad, well, Dad, you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm doing it. I just thought that was so amazing. Also, fast forward to her writing out her what she was gonna say before she posted it, and her publicist was they're like, okay, well, let's do damage control. What could happen? And her publicist says well, the president could come after you. And Taylor Swift, without missing a beat, yeah, fuck that, I don't care. I actually tweeted that because I think that was one of the coolest moments in this documentary, because I think for a lot of people, it's hard to imagine not being able to just say whatever you think. But you have to remember, she built her entire career off of approval. And up until Reputation, that's what she was always doing. She was always, putting out this approval. She needed the approval. And to see her at that moment be like, I don't care, I thought that was really amazing. And it was you get to watch a character break in there. Seeing her emotion about politics, seeing her emotion, finding out that lady won in Tennessee despite, everything that she had done, seeing her cry, it's not fake. She was very emotional about it. Her political statement, I remember when it happened, when she first made a political statement, I remember it being such a big deal, and I couldn't really think why at first. Obviously until I, really thought about it, and kind of how she's never made a political statement. And also knowing that, as a country artist, even though she was making pop records, she was still a huge country artist. It's kind of hard to make a statement like that. So for her to do that was absolutely amazing. Obviously leading into only the young, which is only the young people can change all these things going on. I originally did my reaction to the song before seeing the documentary, and you know, Taylor's always outspoken lately about the music industry, so I immediately went to that being the subject of the song. Obviously, seeing the documentary and seeing how politically charged this song is, I realized that's not the case. And I think it's such a big, bold statement of her, and she has the power to change a lot. You can see just how many people she got to sign up for voting when she first came out with her political beliefs. That's a huge impact, and her trying to get younger voters to come out and change politics. That's the only way we can do it. It's the only way you're gonna, you know, get gun control and get President Trump out of office. The only way you can really push for that is to use that platform. And it's cool to see that Taylor Swift, on the level she's at, decided to do that, because a lot of celebrities, like, they do, but a lot of them also don't. And if we had enough people really talking about it with the passion that Taylor has, this would be amazing. Everybody would be getting out and voting, and everybody would be, you know, educating themselves. And I think that's such a huge moment. I just want to end this video on what I think is the most important topic, and that is there is a huge double standard in life, in society. There are moments in this documentary where they're talking about how many people Taylor Swift has slept with. Why the fuck does that matter? Talking about Taylor Swift's body. Why the fuck does that matter? Talking about essentially every little thing that Taylor Swift has done in her career, even being canceled. Because if all of those things had happened to a male artist, nobody would have reported on it. Nobody would have done anything. There would have been no conversation as to how many people P. Diddy has had sex with, or 50 Cent has had sex with. There would be no, oh, well, you know, 50 Cent's getting kind of fat. No, nobody would be talking about that stuff if Taylor Swift was a man. And I think that's why the song The Man sticks out more. And more importantly, just in this documentary, seeing her essentially leading this coalition to change this. And, you know, no man in my family or in my life is going to control my thoughts, my emotions, what I'm gonna do. I believe she says a quote very similar to that. And that reigns very true. And I think if you can get anything out of this documentary, other than just seeing a side of Taylor that someone like me had never seen, it's that it's a huge call to arms. And I hope she's inspiring people to get out there and be themselves, be who they wanna be. And don't let people around you, you know, silence you or silence your creativity. And I think one thing she does in this documentary very well is this call to arms, this inspiration for females to get out and be themselves, and not to allow men to control every thought and make you be the good girl and tell you what is right and what is wrong and if you're a slut or not, because men do not have that problem. I could go out and bang 100 people and no one's gonna make a single thing about it. But if Taylor does it, Taylor's a slut. And it's ridiculous that that is the way of thinking. And I was very fortunate to have parents raise me without these beliefs, without a narrative of, you know, men are somehow superior or different than women. This double standard did not exist in my home. And for that reason, I grew up never thinking that way. And so it's really cool to see Taylor, you know, having such a big voice in this. And, you know, of course, people are going to see this all over. And, you know, young girls that get to see this, I think it's so amazing to see Taylor go through all of those things so that maybe you don't have to. But if you can't tell based off this recap, I fucking love this documentary. I almost watched it again right after just because it was so good. The only critique I really have to it is I felt like it was really short and it ended very abruptly. I was not ready for it. It's only an hour and 25 minutes. I could have watched another 3 hours of this and I would have been perfectly content with that. I actually think that by the end of this, Taylor Swift would be amazing in a reality show. Taylor Swift could have her own reality show and I would watch it. I would watch it all day, every day, because she's got a very likable personality. And when you see her in these moments, like in her kitchen eating with her friend, you're like, wow, this looks like a reality show. It's even filmed like one, but it's one that I would actually be interested in. But overall, I loved it. I hope you guys liked this video. I probably rambled a lot, but I feel like there was a lot to cover. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Links are in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.